Bagon has a dream of one day soaring in the sky. It practices by leaping off cliffs every single day. Oh, but what would happen if we threw him into the past or future? For the future form of Bagon, we started with another shape study and tried to recreate it with our own skills. As always, once we had a body that actually resembled Bagon, we started working on the futuristic features of the Pokemon. We turned a knob on his ear into a bolt-like feature, we added segments into both of his legs, brought back another belly patch, and we added a lot of segment lines on his arms and especially the tubes going back from his forehead. We also added the lighted part onto his tongue, as if the watery power that this Pokemon generates really comes from within. Iron Engine, the future form of Bagon. This Pokemon appears to be the result of humans finally figuring out how to create an engine purely running on water. It is capable of generating extreme amounts of energy, which it must release with high-speed water blasts. Rumors say that the creator of this Pokemon mysteriously disappeared upon discovering it actually worked. When I look at this design right now, I feel like it's decent. It's okay, it works, it isn't anything special. I do think it's also a little bit boring, but overall it does the job. It does sell the water type of engine, it looks like that. But I just think it's a little bit boring. I don't really have too much to say about the drawing because we basically recreated Shelgon and turned the sticking out parts that he usually has on his body into lighted parts. We added a bunch more lines to make him feel more robotic. I will admit that we kind of ruined some parts of depth of the Pokemon. Like we overlaid a bottom cushion over a part that should have went above the part we actually put above it, if you understand what I mean. Another small error is his eye socket as well. It just doesn't look right. The perspective just doesn't work the way I made it. Overall, if you look beyond that, I do think the drawing came out great, and I feel like it does work as a future form of Shelgon. Iron Orb, the future form of Shelgon. Despite looking heavy, Iron Orb is actually quite light with a layer of soft pads covering its body. It can even inflate itself to the point where it can float on water. Iron Orb can also open its shell to release 3 buoys that it has stored inside of it. This makes it a very good Pokemon to take with you when traveling across the sea. Even though I felt like the first stage of this line was boring because it didn't really change anything, this design doesn't change anything at all either, but it just works better. I don't know, it just sells the floating device that it could be, and I like that. It's simple, but it works. The other one was simple, which made it boring, but this is simple, and just with a few more extra lines here and there, it just sells what I wanted to sell. It's crazy that only a small little detail can work, and other times a small little detail is just boring. Strange. Onto the future form of Salamence. I actually made this drawing in the plane when I went to Portugal last month, and there was a dude sitting next to me and he was like constantly looking onto my screen. I'm figuring out like, what the frick is this dude doing, man? Which was kind of fun to see. I will admit that I had to look back on what the first 2 stages were lore-wise in order to figure out what I wanted to do for this piece. First I came up with the idea to sort of make him like a submersible, but in the end I figured it would be cool to use the energy this Pokemon generate to turn it into a bomb, a hydrogen bomb to be precise. I figured it would be a great way to combine the typing, the water dragon typing, into the lore of the Pokemon, and when I had that vision I could just simply start on working on the body. I didn't really use any reference because I was on a plane, so I didn't have internet, and this is basically my vision that I have of a bomb in my brain, and I really tried my best to make their shapes fit in the right perspective. I know I did bring in at least some kind of fin/slash arms, because otherwise it wouldn't really feel like a Pokemon anymore, and I do want to make it feel like Salamence still. I also wanted to keep the neck sticking out of there as well instead of going forwards, because that also makes it still look like a submersible. And in the end, this drawing really came together whenever I added in the colors. You could instantly see that it looks like a Salamence, and you have to see the shiny because that thing looks freaking awesome as well. Iron Bomb. Bomb, the future form of Salamence. This Pokemon stores hydrogen plasma in a stabilized core. It can unleash a thermonuclear blast. Its power is so destructive, it's banned from most battle facilities. I think we once again made something that pushes the design of Salamence quite far again, and that's awesome. I feel like it worked beautifully on this thing. You can definitely see that it looks like a hydrogen bomb, or it could be used as a submersible as well. You're guessing, right? Like, what is it? And I feel like that makes the Pokemon a freaking menace, especially if you take a look at its special attack. Like, this thing can do damage, and that's exactly what its design looks like. So I quickly wanted to update you guys that I now have a Patreon set up. Don't feel pressured at all to get it, but do drop in a comment and a like on this video. Already helps a lot. For the people that do wonder what you can get, for the best friend tier you can pick one Pokemon to receive a Paradox form, and for the legendary friend tier you can pick an entire line to receive a Paradox form. Go check it out, link in the bio. Okay, the past form of Bagon. Another drawing that wasn't actually that difficult because we of course have Roaring Moon to reference, and we can just go back to this drawing and just make a Bagon that would fit to evolve into a Roaring Moon design. We added the same neck spikes that Roaring Moon has. We made sure to bring back the same kind of pattern to its tail and to his belly area as well. We added the black spikes to his back too, and made sure to make his fingers feel more pointy and his feet too. Other than that, it was basically just reworking the color palette to fit Roaring Moon 2, and that's all that I had to do for it. It's super simple because you have a design to work towards. It's basically slimming down and just breaking down what Roaring Moon is, and then just implementing into this design. Scaly Terror, the past form of Bagon. This Pokemon's body is largely made up of muscle. With its strong jaw and beefy legs, it often challenges other Pokemon to a battle, and it will not take no for an answer. Scaly Terror often finds itself getting pulverized when trying to challenge two strong Pokemon like Great Tusk. When losing a battle, it keeps a mental note on who it has lost to, so it can rematch them after training. When I compare this design to the other Bagon design we made, I feel like it captures all the elements that it needs to capture. It's super simple too, but we added all the details from the Roaring Moon design into this piece, and that makes it look interesting. It isn't boring because it changes enough, and the other design felt just a little bit boring because it didn't push the design further than what it usually is. Well, the same thing we did for the first stage definitely fits this stage too. I will say that the rotund kind of feeling of the Pokemon definitely worked better than a future form, and although regular Shelgon doesn't have a tail, I felt like it would fit well on this design. So we added in the tail, we added in the black kind of point sticking out from there too, and after that we were just adding some feathers here and there because that's what Roaring Moon has too. We added in the little things he has from his cheeks, the point sticking out from his cheeks. Once I added in the colors, it did already look like Roaring Moon. I believe when I made this piece, I actually wanted to evolve and make a regular Salamence kind of Paradox form, but it would feel weird to do so. So in the end, we're just going with Roaring Moon as the final stage of this line. And overall, I think the design came out great. Roughed Shell, the past form of Shelgon. This Pokemon shell is tough as steel with a rough surface. It has a hard time reaching out to bite foes, so it instead throws its large heavy self at them. Roughed Shell spends most of its time eating and training, so it can evolve as soon as possible. I'm a big fan of this Pokemon. I genuinely think it pushes Shelgon into a direction that makes him way more interesting, that makes him look dangerous instead of only defensive, because this thing looks like it can actually attack instead of only curl up in a ball and defend itself. So overall, I just think it looks gorgeous. So for this piece, we started out mapping out his body, and once all the colors were blocked in, we could just start adding in the details, and before you knew it, it was done. The drawing was done. And it looks really good, man. Damn. Roaring Moon, the past form of Salamence. This ancient Pokemon soared through prehistoric skies, not in a search of freedom, but to hunt. Its wings, powered by brute muscle, allowed it to dive at terrifying speeds. Roaring Moon was feared for its ferocity and relentless pursuit of prey. We were, of course, once again joking about making this piece. We did not. It's the official one again. It's a cool design. Do remember that I wanted to just make my own piece first and base it off the regular Salamence body proportions. I didn't want to do it because we already had this and this design was also really cool. So we're just gonna go with this one, and it does look cool. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's a cool design.